What's up, everybody? Tim Conley here, and I've got a crazy special guest, and we're going to be talking about something really important. We're going to be talking about personal branding for your agency. And I've got my business partner, Joseph Hughes, on, so let's check it. Dude, what is up? People do not believe you are real. So I had to have you on here. What's going on?
Hey, what's up, Tim? Awesome to be here on your fastly growing YouTube channel. Really excited to dig in here.
Yeah, so tell people who you are and that you are a real human being.
I am a real human being. So I guess you've been talking about Contractor Dynamics and maybe me as a case study for a little bit on the channel. True story. Been at this for, almost 8 years now, 2012, and run Contractor Dynamics. We are the roofing industry's only marketing training company that focuses 100% on the industry. And it's been a fun ride. We're still learning and improving every day, of course, but it's been a fun ride for sure.
Cool. So let's talk about personal branding. So we jump back a few years when I was coaching. You were a coaching client of mine, and we were talking. And I said, "Dude, you got to get on video. You got to get on video." What happened then? Like, did you just I'm going to just grab a DSLR and I'm just going to go to town? Like, what actually happened?
I just figured out how to use this whole DSLR and fancy microphone setup like this month, right? It was just literally
more like this morning.
All right, this morning, before we hit record. It was just like literally, doing the old selfie video wherever I was, with low quality sound and horrible lighting and echoes in our office where we have 16-foot ceilings. So the echo's crazy. So it was just getting out there and, trying it. And I think that's obviously not perfect, still not perfect. No one is. You just get better every time. And I think it made a connection with our audience. It did make a connection with our audience, with our market, because it's authentic and real. I would do videos where it was like, hey, I'm in the office at 6 a.m. Or I left the office at 10 p.m. and there's a snowstorm in Asbury Park outside our office. And I just did a video like, hey, I'm here in the trenches with you guys. We're grinding, we're hustling, we're doing all that sort of thing. And those things, those raw videos just, made a good connection at the beginning.
Yeah. So why a personal brand? Why not just promote Contractor Dynamics and say, everything Contractor Dynamics, not show your face, that sort of thing?
Well, that worked several years ago. And not that it doesn't work now. However, as we know, and people watching this will know, that people do business with people, right? And we are at a level of market sophistication where you can't just go out there and just make any claim you want and have people believe you. You can make those claims and declare that you're amazing and that you're the best at what you do, but there's so much noise out there. There's so many messages and marketing messages out there that you've got to cut through the noise. And we brand and market as a company. However, I've been able to cut through that noise and make that connection much more effectively, much more quickly than with the Contractor Dynamics brand. So it's, and I do a lot of, as you know, speaking engagements, and I was doing a lot of traveling and whatnot, and just building that, shaking hands, giving a presentation, hosting a workshop, being on a panel on stage, and then people can follow me, the person, Joseph Hughes. They might not even know our company name, but they know me because they've met me and saw me. So it's continuing that connection. That was a big thing for sure. That face-to-face connection.
They definitely don't know the company name. I totally freaked people out because I went off and did a road show earlier this year. You had committed the company to 2 road shows that were happening at the exact same time. And so you were doing one, I was doing the other, and people were like, "Who is this long-haired dude? Like coming out here talking to us? And who's Contractor Dynamics?" And then they'd be like, "Oh, I know Joe." That's who they ended up knowing. And so how long did it take for people to actually start knowing who you were from the time you decided, oh, I'm going to do this personal branding thing, before like that became the brand?
Quite honestly, it was pretty quick. It was pretty fast, because we started a few years ago, when in the roofing construction industry, there's really not too many people doing what we're doing at all. So made that connection within a matter of 3 months for sure, putting out content consistently, in addition to going to those events. So yeah, it was pretty quick.
Yeah, and so that's the thing that I've been trying to tell people, is that this isn't personal branding cuts through the noise so much faster than just trying to promote your company, trying to promote your brand, because no one knows your brand. Nobody cares about your brand, but they can connect with you as a human being.
Absolutely. And I would say I would definitely put some money on the fact that we've got at least a handful of clients that are paying us right now that could not name our company name, if they were asked, right? They're working with Joe. They're working with Joe and Tim. They're working with our team, Joe and the team. They might not know Contractor Dynamics until they see it on their invoice, right? And we just had an onboarding call with our one of our clients in Corpus Christi, Texas. So down in Texas, I'm here in New Jersey. Met him at an event at RoofCon several months ago, about 6 months ago. Been following my content and made that connection. And he referenced during our onboarding call, just kind of mapping out his strategy. He referenced a couple of things that I've talked about in my videos. So it's clear that he's watched my videos. He's seen some content, kind of watching from the sideline for a few months. And then when he's ready, he's jumping in and signing up for our program, because, I built that relationship with him from, 2,000 miles away, and he feels like he knows me. And so that's so powerful. So powerful.
Okay. Sounds awesome. Sounds like, hey, just do personal branding, make some videos, and people are going to love you, and it's all going to be roses and sunshine. What's the problem with personal branding? Like, what do you not like about it?
I guess a couple downsides is that people potentially want to work with just me. Like, they want to speak with Joe. They want to be able to access me, whether it's text message or Facebook Messenger at whatever hour per night. So there's that expectation of like, I'm hiring like the guru, and I don't want to be like the guru. We're building a company here. So it's important to set boundaries, because you're going to get those messages, text messages, emails, phone calls, Facebook messages at all hours of the day, 24/7. And it's important to set boundaries to, kind of train your clients on how to interact with you. Like, these are the channels that we prefer. I'm not going to respond to your Facebook message at 11 o'clock at night. I'm not even awake at that time. Or, first thing when I get up. So be cognizant of that, because you need to make those boundaries, just like in any client relationship. But when you're putting yourself out there, people feel like they know you and they have that access to you. So that can be one of the downsides of that. And really, one of the things that I think people might get hung up on is if they're building a personal brand, they're like, yeah, well, people definitely want to work with me because I'm the guy, I'm the girl. People like that, but they just want the result, right? So if you can build a company where the result is duplicated, or the result is actually better, if they're working with your account manager or someone else on your team, they're going to get better service because you're set up that way to serve them that way. You gotta communicate that to them. That's really important to make them understand that they're getting that same level of service, if not better, by working with your team, as opposed to just reaching out one-on-one to the owner.
It definitely should be better, like working with a team, because one human being can only do so much. So it should be better to work with the team. and it should be clear that it's better. I've seen a lot of people who get into like the digital marketing space, the web design space, and that's where Contractor Dynamics got its start, was in web design. I see a lot of people go into that, and they hire inept people, inexperienced people. They hire VAs to do the work of an expert, and their customers actually do get less when working with the team. Like I see that as like one of the biggest problems with expanding out from being the personal brand, say for freelancers and other experts, to being able to transfer people over to the team. Is like, you got to actually hire good people. You got to hire good people and train them properly so that you can actually deliver a great product and customer experience.
Absolutely. And as you know, we've gone through that learning curve and some of those learning lessons for sure, so that can backfire, right? So if you have a team member who's not capable of answering questions and serving that client, well, that client's gonna escalate their issues or their problems to you as the owner, and it's just gonna become, now you have to put out a fire and then serve the client. So it's like double work. And as you talk about a lot, Tim, you pay, whether it's an outsourced agency or an outsourced marketing person or a vendor or a team member, you pay for labor and you pay for thinking. So it's easy to hire a VA or someone at a lower level to do some labor. But if they're going to be interacting with clients and representing your brand and your company, then they've got to have the ability to think on their feet and answer questions. So you got to understand that you're hiring and you're training for that person to be able to think and not just like do an SOP. So that's a great way to think about it, in my opinion.
Very cool. So going forward, when people are wanting to do this personal brand thing, they're like, okay, Joe, sounds good. I want to do it. Where's a good place to start? What should they do? Should they pick up their phone? Should they write a blog post, make an Instagram post? Like, what do they do? Like, what are the first steps?
I would say what I like to do is to find people out there in your market, or it can be in another market, that have a personal brand that kind of resonates with your style. So I wouldn't call myself naturally a creative person, but I can identify like, okay, I like that guy and I like what he's doing. Like one of the guys I started following last week after I heard him on a podcast, I kind of restarted following him, was Dan Martell. And so I like his style. I like, the kind of content he puts out. I like that he's a family man and that he's got successful businesses and things like that. So that's a guy that I'm like, all right, well, let me see what I can kind of adapt from what he's doing, because that's kind of my style. I'm not a naturally over the top guy like Gary Vee, although we do kind of download some of Gary Vee's playbook. I am, that's not necessarily my personality. So just try to find people that you kind of resonate with, that you want to kind of emulate, obviously not copy, draw some ideas from. And video, get out of your comfort zone. You've got to be doing video. It's going to connect with people on a much deeper level. You're going to stand out because most people are afraid of doing video. So just by getting out there and doing it and putting in the reps, you're going to get stronger at it. I talk about it like going to the gym, right? You don't go to the gym on January 1st and expect to just like crush it, right? You go there every day. You get stronger.
I do.
You get stronger and stronger. The weights never get lighter, but you just get stronger. You get better. So it doesn't get easier. Some days, even now, a few years in, like I struggle with doing videos. Some days I don't have the right energy or I'm not in the mood. But you get stronger at doing it. So get on video and don't try to be everywhere, especially if you're on your own and doing this stuff all by yourself. If you're recording videos, you're editing, you're publishing content, you can be easily overwhelmed by thinking that you have to be everywhere, like TikTok and Snapchat and LinkedIn and Twitter. I would say pick a couple channels and just go deep. Go deep before you go wide, because you're going to make that connection. You're going to start getting traction. You're going to start getting customers, making some money, and then you can reinvest into going wider on different channels from there.
Okay. So a video. Get started with video. what should I do? Should I go out, buy a DSLR, fancy lens, like crazy microphones and all that stuff? Like, what do I do?
Yeah, well, we just invested in that stuff as a company a few months ago. So that's after 3 years of doing video content on this guy right here, which everyone has. So I would say start with your smartphone, and there are tools that you can attach to your phone, especially to get a good lavalier, a good lapel microphone. You can have a tripod selfie stick. You can have a wide angle lens. There's so many attachments that you can make your smartphone into like a little, production studio, if you will. So definitely start there. For $100, you can have a good little setup that's gonna, elevate the quality of your content, especially that audio. So start with your smartphone. No need to, go get overwhelmed. Those are all in my opinion, ways to procrastinate. Okay, I need to save up money to buy all this equipment. Then I need to spend some time to learn how to use it and then how to perfect it. Like, that's just procrastination. Just get going with it. Just dive in.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Because the biggest fear is like, I'm going to put out crap. And guess what? It's going to be crap. It's going to be, unless you're just a natural on camera. And I'm not. And Joe, I remember your first videos. Like, the first ones, they're just not good. You might have a good message, you might be getting across a good idea, but the rest of it, the technical side of it, like I'm sitting here, I'm talking, and right before Joe and I got on here, because he's like, "Hey, are you ready to record?" And I'm like, "Oh crap, I completely forgot. Let me set up my studio." Now, I'm going to call your attention to me screwing up my video. Look right here. See that curve in my bookshelf? My bookshelf does not have a curve in it. This is me improperly setting up the lens and not having it all dialed in. I guarantee you my video editor, Pedro, is going to be like, "Dude, what are you doing?" And he's going to say something, and maybe he'll even put in like a blooper of me screwing something up. So he likes to do that because these things are not ever perfect. I've been doing this now, like making videos on a weekly basis, sometimes multiple times per week for, well over a year and a half. We're at like 1 year and 8 months or something. And I still suck, but we can still put out that message. We can still put out the effort because people will resonate. I get messages all the time from people saying, "I'm so glad I found your channel because you're saying things that no one else has ever told me. You're telling me things that are really improving my business. They're improving my life." And that's why you should do it. It's to improve other people's lives when you flip on that camera.
Absolutely. And a big thing on that, and you mentioned it, I see it all the time, and get that feedback from people that are like, "Oh, I watched your video, I did that thing, and it's been working." And I'm like, "Who are you again?" Like, not that I'm that big shot that I don't know people, but the point is that there's all these people out there watching. I call them the silent majority. Maybe you call them the invisible list. People that are consuming your content and just not engaging, not liking, commenting, sharing. And then, they'll either reach out to you and say thanks. They'll reach out to you and say, "Hey, I've seen your content. I love your stuff. Do you want to speak at my event? Do you want to collaborate on this webinar or this workshop or something like that?" Those opportunities come from all over the place. And there's people out there that are watching your stuff that are just not interacting. So trust the process. Trust that there are people out there that are watching. So even if you only get a couple views and your mom's the only comment that you get, which I still get once in a while, thanks mom. Just trust the process that there are people out there that you're helping.
Definitely. And I want to like end this with trusting that process. Because you and I, we were talking about a few of our recent clients, and it's happened quite a few times actually. But we were talking about this recently, where we counted at least 9 touch points before a person became a client of ours, where they saw a video, They saw, I think on Facebook, saw like a video on Facebook, saw a post in someone else's Facebook group that's for roofers, and then saw you speak at an event, then somewhere else, and then it was like a full 9 touch points before finally saying, yes, I'm going to do business with Joe.
Absolutely. And the case study I mentioned just this morning, onboarding our new client, Scott, down in Texas, he saw me speak at RoofCon, which was 6 months ago. He's watched several of my videos. He called one of our clients to use as kind of a reference. And it took him a few months, and he saw enough, and he's like, all right, I'm ready for this. And that happens all the time, like all the time.
And so that's what I wanted to highlight, is that your personal brand, the content that you put out, becomes those touch points, right? So you can put out enough content so that if it takes 9 times to see your message, if it takes that many times or more, it's out there for them to actually consume it, so that when they come to you, they're ready. They trust you. They trust your product. They trust your service, and they trust you as a human being because of the multiple touch points where they feel, yes, I know this person to be a good person. I'm ready to do business.
Yeah, absolutely. And that can help you scale because, again, to use this guy, Scott, I've never interacted with him one-on-one, yet he's consumed a lot of our content on his end. So it wasn't a business development effort on our team's end. It was quite passive. So yeah, it can help you scale beyond just yourself and your ability to reach out to people and develop that business.
Fantastic. Joe, thanks for coming on here. Thanks for proving to the world that you're a real human being, that you and I do run Contractor Dynamics. That's awesome. Like,
yeah. Hey, this is great. Glad to be on your channel finally.
Yeah, granted, you had to pay me to be able to be on here. It's like a sponsored video. No, just joking. This is not a sponsored video. All right, Joe, thanks for coming on. And for everyone else watching, if you liked it, like it. Hit that like button, subscribe, share, and as always, do all the socials. And I'll see you in the next video. Before you go, check this out right here. This video is how Joe has made $20,000 in a single day from a workshop. Go check that one out. It is well worth your time. You'll be able to run your own profitable workshops, so go check it out. And we're done.